Gabby. Thanks so much. So interestingly enough, we are going to talk about AI today. So many of you have asked a few questions about, hey, what is AI? Maybe you've heard of it at a conference. Maybe you've, Gabby, you're still screen sharing, just so you know. You'll have to pop that off. What does AI look like for us here at Burgo? How does it impact my job? So I've been really looking forward to this session. I'm going to try to answer some of those questions today. AI is something that a lot of folks are talking about, and it's one of those things where you've got people on all ends of the spectrum. Some people say, hey, this is the greatest technology since the wheel or the car. This is going to totally transform how we do everything. And you got other people on the end of the spectrum that are like, I just don't know. Like it may be helpful, may not be helpful. So I'm going to try to offer a little bit of a balanced approach today, and really try to have a pretty interactive, fun session for you all to talk about your jobs and what could AI mean for you. So before we do that, I want to jump into a Zoom poll. So the question I want you all to answer is, how often do you use AI or generative AI in your role today at Burgo? So that should have popped up on the screen. The options are, I've never used AI before. I've used AI a handful of times, maybe specific situations. I use AI every so often, but not consistently. Or I use AI almost every day. So go ahead and answer. It looks like most of you have already gotten in. Last couple seconds here to respond, and then I'll share the results. All right, let me go ahead and share these results with everybody. So you should be able to see these results. I'm going to put them on the screen for the recording as well, but really interesting. So the majority of you have never used AI before, so hopefully today's session will be helpful for you. The next most answered is handful of times in specific situations, and then every so often. And for about 14% of you actually say you use AI every day. That's really interesting, really impressive. If you're using AI, if you've ever used it before or you're using it today, can you go ahead and just post in the chat what specifically are you using? So if you've used AI, go ahead and post in the chat, what have you used AI for, or what specific type of AI have you used? Go ahead and just pop that in the chat real quick, and I'm curious to hear what you've used. Grammarly, I love it. I use Grammarly all day, every day. I am horrible at grammar. Help with writing, SOPs, love it. ChatGPT, I figured a few of you were going to mention ChatGPT. That has been out for a long time and is probably the most used version of AI. All kinds of other stuff being responded there as well. So those are some great tools and great ways to use AI to generate content. By the way, the term generative AI comes from the concept of generating something. There's multiple kinds of AI, and specifically today we're going to talk about generative AI. So those are all great responses. Let's talk about the problem and the opportunity in our industry. So I believe real estate is a bit of an archaic industry and really a slow adapter of new technology. In fact, if you look around, particularly real estate brokerage and real estate management and a lot of the things that we sort of do on an ancillary basis, but the industry at large does them frequently, it tends to be so archaic. In fact, those of you that know how we close transactions know this to be true. We're still closing by signing like huge documents and getting them notarized and having them recorded downtown. I mean, it is just an archaic industry. But, and by the way, real estate organizations have really had trouble implementing AI just since it's come out. And maybe don't really see the value opportunity in AI. It's often not being used in small non-tech businesses like Burgo, but I believe real estate or AI is really booming and can really help real estate become an industry that moves from sort of the Stone Ages into today's kind of cutting edge technologies. So I'm going to try and convince you of that now. Here are 3 reasons that I really believe we should be leveraging and thinking about AI in the workplace and here at Burgo. And honestly, even in your personal life, there are lots of things that AI can do to help you think about and improve in your personal life as well. The first thing is I believe AI enhances your productivity. So AI can automate those routine tasks that you're doing, allowing us to focus on our higher leverage, higher value activities, things like creativity, problem solving, and critical thinking. These are things that, in my opinion, AI will never replace. What is human about each and every one of you, AI is just not going to be able to get to. But what it can do is some of those more monotonous, automated tasks, and hopefully making you become even more productive as a worker. Some examples, AI is being used for like chatbots for customer service. So it handles that initial customer service request, like where's my K1? But then when it gets to a little bit more of a complicated request, then a human gets involved. So it allows the human to be able to do the more complicated tasks that require more of the critical thinking. And again, I don't think AI is going to replace what is really human and impactful about each and every one of you, but hopefully make you more productive in the work that you're doing. The second is this: I believe AI enables decision making. So enables decision making. And the goal here is really data-driven decisions. So analyzing a bunch of data and allowing that to inform our decisions. There's this concept of machine learning you might have heard before. It's taking algorithms and big sets of data and helping that to inform our decisions. Some people would call this AI analytics. That you can leverage to help us make decisions, but really folks are leveraging AI and even generative AI to help make better informed decisions, and I think we'll actually be able to test a little bit of that today as well. The third reason I think AI is really transforming industries and can help us in the workplace is actually equipping workforce development. So each and every one of us hopefully wants to continue to improve in the work that we're doing. Well, AI can actually leverage opportunities for us to increase our skills and our expertise in our varying levels of work. And again, we'll dig into some of that today. But the goal is really to use some of these AI-powered tools, data analysis, machine learning, automation, to help us to be even better at the work that we're doing. It can assist us in professional development, personal development, and again, we'll dig into some of that today as well. So just really quick, my 3 points that I wanted to share with you that I believe are ways in which AI can help us to leverage the work that we're doing and to improve in the work we're doing. The first is it can enhance our productivity. The second is it can enable decision-making and really data-driven decision-making. And the third is equipping workforce development. So really helping us to develop as people and as professionals. So I'm going to actually go through a few examples of how AI is being used in our exact industry. Now, I cite a few articles here. And then, by the way, the balance of this meeting is going to be us playing around with AI, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. So hang on here for a couple points that I want to share with you, and then we'll play with some AI. AI in operations, so in property management and maintenance. You're seeing it automate tasks like rent collection, maintenance requests, lease renewals, tenant screening, background checks, predictive maintenance. Some of these things are actually things that AppFolio has tried to leverage in its system. Energy management and sustainability. There's this IoT concept, Internet of Things, where AI is actually being used on physical devices. And then chatbots providing virtual assistance to tenants, things like that. So these are things that are actually already being done in the operations world. Let's talk about asset management. So you're starting to see AI processing data on property values, rental trends, market dynamics. You're seeing AI starting to be used to identify undervalued assets and predict rent growth. Predictive analytics, some of the things we've talked about. Investment analysis, like, hey, how's this particular investment doing? Market analysis and risk management. And I actually referenced 2 separate articles here. I'll share this with you all later in case you want to check out these articles. But again, lots of folks are using AI for these reasons today. And then what about just at the corporate office level, sort of for, back office staff? I think you're seeing AI being used for scheduling, content creation, social media, task automation, meeting notes and summarization, which again, I'm going to give an example of for today. Data analysis, sourcing, recruiting, job descriptions, things like that, sales and investor relations. And that's another example that I'll share with you all today. So here are some tools that I use all the time. Many of you mentioned ChatGPT. That's one of the tools I use. I use a tool called SaneBox, which is an AI that actually manages my inbox for me. It puts stuff in a particular folder if I don't need to get to it today, and it prioritizes stuff that I need to get to immediately. Sparkfire is a relatively new AI that we're using for investor relations sales outreach. Otter is one of the many tools that are used to record meetings like this one and create a transcript and a summary. And Perplexity is a relatively new tool that I've been using that I've enjoyed digging into as well. And I'm gonna go through that with you guys as well. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to spend the rest of the time on a really interactive session. So if you're willing, I would like a few of you to raise your virtual hand. And I'm going to just maybe ask you about a problem or an issue that you're working through, or talk about your job a little bit. And we're going to see if AI can help you in your job. So if you're willing to do that, please go ahead and raise your virtual hand. I'll interact with each of you on a couple examples, and then hopefully this will be fun for you all. So Jason, you were the first hand that I saw. Can you tell me a little bit about either a particular issue or a particular opportunity that you think we might want to be able to use AI to dig into?
So I think that maybe for listings, I have a surplus of 3 bedrooms right now that I would like to list on some various different sites outside of our typical advertising means.
Great. So listing for leasing opportunities. By the way, this is probably very small, so you guys can't see this. But this is Otter. As you guys can see, Otter has actually been recording this and creating a transcript of the meeting. You can actually even see up here where Gabby was talking, it was capturing some screenshots. What this actually will do is create a full transcript from this meeting. And then afterwards, I'll be able to pull this into a summary. Otter will create a summary with all the action items from the meeting, and it'll do that when I wrap the meeting up. So really cool technology. This is AI here. So I'm going to be just kind of lazy, and instead of asking ChatGPT to do what you said, I'm actually just going to copy and paste what you said. All right, here's ChatGPT. So many of you have seen ChatGPT before. This might look a little different from how you've seen ChatGPT, because I actually have an AI tool called AI PRM. It stands for Prompt Response Manager, that will actually create prompts for me. So I'm going to just be super lazy, and I'm going to pop this into ChatGPT and see what it says. Now, by the way, this is ChatGPT 3.5, which is flying. Sometimes I'll use ChatGPT 4.0, which will go a little bit slower, but give me a little bit of a better response. All right, so it says, hey, you want to create some listings for your 3-bedroom properties. Here are some things you can do: market analysis, optimized listings, dynamic pricing, target marketing, performance tracking. So I'm going to actually ask it, can you give me some specific areas where I can be listing my rental property based on the above? Because I think what I heard you say is you want to maybe expand the places that you're listing it. So again, this is flying, right? It's giving me a ton of options here. Social media platforms, local classifieds like Craigslist, rental websites, things like apartments.com, rent.com, HotPads, vacation rental platforms all over the place. I'm going to ask it another thing, and I'm going to tell it to give me a really quick answer. Give me the top 10 places to list my rental, and I'm going to say no yapping. So sometimes ChatGPT can yap, which is like, it just gives you way too much information. So here you go. I asked it for its top 10, and I said no yapping. And here's the list: Craigslist, apartment.com, Facebook Marketplace. Maybe you're already doing this stuff, Jason, but if you ever needed a couple more options, here they are.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Thanks for playing. I'm going to go with Josh Fisher. Josh, what do you got going on? What can I dig into with you?
Thanks, Andrew. So I'm actually I'm in Manhattan for a conference that's happening tomorrow, and I'm wondering how could I be leveraging AI for conference research? Like, haven't had a ton of time with all the closings going on to do a bunch of research, which I usually do before going into something like this. So, wondering if I could wizard something together here.
All right, great. You're at a conference. Let me go ahead and pop up your uh, response here. Wizard something together. Yep. Let's see what we got. So you're in Manhattan at a conference. Let me just copy and paste again. I'm going to be super lazy and just pop this into here. So I'm going to do a new chat. Pop this into here. What's the name of the conference that you're at, by the way?
It's called the Real Estate Private Equity Summit. It's by a company called iGlobal Forum.
Okay. So here you go. It's saying you could look into some trends and you could look for some networking assistance, use AI. It's giving us a wrong answer here. So it's telling you tools that you could use to optimize your time. What I'd really like to dig into, Josh, is maybe like who would be a good person for you to meet at this summit?
Yeah, that's a good idea. There's a company called Time Equities that looked at funding um, one of our partners' deals, and their CEO is going to be there. His name is Francis Greenberger. He's one of the speakers.
Okay.
Would love to say hi to Francis.
All right, so here we go. ChatGPT gave us, again, just kind of a bunch of things you could use AI for there at the Private Equity Real Estate Summit. Let me go back to the notes here, and let me see if I can get this person's name, Francis Greenberger.
I think that's spelled right. It's a little hard to see.
All right, I'm going to grab this here, and I'm going to use a different tool. I'm going to use this Perplexity AI. So let's do this. Let's ask Perplexity. Let's say a meeting with Francis Greenberger.
It's Burgeer.
Burger. What do I need to know about him? What should I say and what should I not say? So, at least for me, when I go to conferences, I find it helpful to research people that I might meet with before I go. So here's a tool. I like this Perplexity. So you could Google this guy and pull up a bunch of articles. This does the work for you. So you'll see it's citing the sources here. Here's this Francis Greenberger. Does this look like him? Let me see. Francis Greenberger, prominent figure, philanthropic work,
Yep.
founder and
Oh, wow. This is freaky.
yeah. So here you go. Oh, real estate. So yeah, he talks about real estate. Is he the guiding force behind Time Equities?
He is the guiding force, CEO and president of Time Equities.
All right, cool. So you could do this research on your own and probably get an answer, but here's a bunch of articles it references. Here's what to say. You can talk about his philanthropy. You bump into him. Hey, Francis, I hear you're really somebody that gives and is philanthropic. I think that's great. It sounds like he has a real interest in criminal justice reform. So you could reference that. And real estate interest. Obviously, that's a way you could connect with him. Things to avoid, avoid controversial topics, avoid personally intrusive questions, things like that. That's a little generic, but you get it. And then, you could click on these related things if you want to dig in a little further, learn a little bit more about, hey, what's his deal with the Center for Social Criminal Justice? Here you go.
Wow. So cool. Thank you. This is Perplexity.
Hey, Perplexity. Perplexing stuff here.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for playing. Mel, I
Thank
think
you.
I think you're next on my list. Wait to put his hand
Yeah,
down.
so
Are you putting his hand down?
it's
Oh,
maybe
okay.
more of a success story with this than an absolute need right now. But I did about, I think it was like 3 quarters ago, I had a rock to uh, come up with a data retention policy.
Data.
That if anybody's been here long enough knows my written communication is atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know where to start. I'd never written a policy like this before. So I spent 3 to 5 hours like researching other companies' data policies, like trying to copy and paste it piecemeal. The bottom line was just it was garbage, just what I put together. So I forget who mentioned it. I might have been talking with my sister, it might have been Ed. But they said, like, why don't you see what ChatGPT comes up with? So I kind of put some parameters in there, said, like, hey, I want to write me a 5-page data bullet pointed out policy for data retention for a real estate company called Virgo Realty that uses all cloud-based architecture or design. And I forget all the terminology I specifically put in there. But it was amazing to watch it create it, because obviously it's going to type it out as I was doing. I was using, I think, like ChatGPT 2.0 back then or something,
Mm-hmm.
a much older, outdated version. But the bottom line is what probably would have taken me like a lot more hours. I think I finished the whole thing in like 3 by just having it create all these articles and all this like documentation, and then we just had to massage it a little bit to be more specific to our needs. So
Yeah. Thanks so much, Mel. I appreciate the success story. I've been there as well. So in my opinion, the hardest thing about writing is staring at that blank page with the cursor just blinking and saying, where the heck do I start? And so, at least for me, getting something down on paper and letting AI give you that, and it may be garbage, but at least it gets you off of center in terms of generating that content. So, you may be, and I'm not going to ask ChatGPT to do this now, but it sounds like you've got a success story here already and you've already used it. But if you wanted to ask ChatGPT to do that, we could even just copy what you had here, create a new chat, pop it in here. One of the things that's interesting, I don't know if I actually have a prompt for this, but let me see. Standard operating procedures. No, there's not a prompt for this. Sometimes you can grab an existing prompt and ask it to prompt it with something that's useful. So here are some example prompts, like creating blog entries, YouTube scripts, things like that. Generating content, ChatGPT has down pat. So, standard operating procedures are a great example. And I think, let's see what ChatGPT has to say about all of our garbage that I just popped in there. Yep, writing can be a challenge. It's intimidating staring at the blank page, but AI can help you get over that barrier. Cool. Thanks for sharing the success story there, Mel. Appreciate it. Shannon, yeah, go ahead.
Hi. To educate our
Can you ask Johanna if she's joining?
Could ChatGPT or any other AI educate us on how does the NPS 76 score compare to other companies, and what can we do to maintain that or enhance it?
I love it. That sounds great. So let's see what Otter came up with in terms of your transcript here. So here we go. Shannon, ChatGPT, ENPS score 76 compared to other companies. What can we do to improve it or maintain it? All right. I might have to fix that up a little bit, but let me just copy and paste kind of the crazy thing in here. So I'm glad you asked about this, Shannon, because like when I see a 76, when I used to get 76s back in high school, that was like a C, right? So I'm hearing 76. I'm like, we got a C? Like, how excited should we be about getting a C?
My first response to Gabby when we looked at it, I was like, wait, what?
But let's see what it says. So first of all, understanding NPS. Okay, so that's helpful. There's promoters, there's detractors, there's passives, and you get a certain score for each of them. Benchmarking against other companies. I don't know if you guys can see this. An NPS score of 76 is considered exceptional. NPS scores can vary significantly across industries, so it's essential to compare within your industry. Okay, let's tell it what our industry is here in a minute. Generally, scores above 50 are considered excellent. Anything above 70 is exceptional. Companies like Apple, Amazon, Netflix boast high NPS scores, but you got to benchmark against your own folks. All right, and then you asked about maintaining and improving NPS. So it says, maintain or improve NPS of 76, focus on consistently delivering exceptional customer experiences, listen to customer feedback, personalize customer interactions. So this is interesting. It's talking about customers. We're going to tell it that we're talking about employees here. Empower employees, focus on customer success, innovate continuously. All right. So first of all, let's tell it that we want to know about employees.
And how we can look at customers as employees too,
Yep.
the company's taking care of that.
So I'm going to say, yeah, and you're right. I think they connect to each other for sure. So I'm going to say we're in the real estate industry compared to benchmarks. So first of all, I told it it's our eNPS score, so we're talking about employees. Second, I told it that we're in real estate. So let's see what it says. It's doing a little bit of yapping, but here now it's giving us a better response that's just focused on employees. And it didn't take me long to correct it. Regular feedback mechanisms, so making sure we're asking employees for feedback, investing in employee development, fostering a positive work environment, communicating transparently, empowering employees, and celebrating success. So that's a much better answer. It's now giving us specifically an answer to employee engagement and development as opposed to focusing on the customers.
What was the score compared to our industry?
Yeah, I was gonna say it didn't answer that. Let me see what it says. 76 is exceptional.
You go above.
Oh, here we go. Benchmarks in real estate. Generally, eNPS scores above 0 are considered positive, with scores above 30 being considered excellence and scores above 50 considered world class. So it seems like the bar is a little bit lower in our industry here, Shannon. The bar is slightly lower than Apple and Amazon, which is not surprising, right? Cool. It seems like that is a really good score. So I don't feel as bad about a 76. It doesn't feel like a C at all now that I've plugged this in. In fact, it seems like we are doing really well.
All of you wonderful people that make that happen.
Awesome. Thank you, Shannon. Hanan, what do you got for me? Anybody else want to get in the queue? Feel free to raise that virtual hand. I'm having fun. I'm going to keep doing this until we're out of time here. So go ahead, Hanan.
Hi. For my standpoint, I am a new employee to Virgo. Coming from tax credit and HUD, I am also new to the way, by the way, I love it, Virgo operates. So I wonder if AI or ChatGPT will say, hey, maybe based on what we did in the 76 score, this is the company I'm working for. What would be my priorities to respond to the way Virgo works and to be very productive based with my background and where the mission of Virgo is.
Oh, I love that, Hanan. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that that's relevant for other people as well. So you're a new employee. You're wondering, hey, how can I be most productive? How can I leverage my skills and my assets here at Virgo and make sure that we're, continuing to improve on that score. So let's see what we got.
How would I prioritize my work to have it very productive? I'm mostly interested in that, in the priority. How would AI actually see that?
Awesome.
Answer that?
Prioritizing your work. I love it. So let's just, prioritizing work to be most productive. Let's just grab that. This thing keeps filling stuff out here, so I'm trying to grab it while it's creating the transcript. I'm gonna grab just all of that, the little back and forth that you and I had there. I'm gonna grab the whole thing, create a new chat. For kicks and giggles, let's go to ChatGPT for this one. It's gonna be a little bit slower, but it might do a better job. Yeah, roll at Virgo. It says obviously we'll have to correct it that we're actually called Virgo. So it's going to go a little slower than the last one, but it should give us a little bit of a better response, particularly given that I just copied and pasted like trash into ChatGPT. I mean, that transcript was pretty bad. Let's see what it says. So as a new person, you should focus on first understanding Virgo's mission and values, not Virgo. Identify key performance indicators. Okay, so really understand how is success measured in your role and making sure that you understand those and have a way to leverage them. Leverage your unique skills. So understanding your unique skills. In ROS, we talk a lot about your who. So understanding how you're uniquely wired. Communicate with your team. Anytime you're new in your role, really important to communicate with the team. adopt agile and flexible working practices, focus on impact, which actually makes a lot of sense for an organization like ours, and continuous learning and adaptation. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say our company is actually called Burgo. Give me those tips in shorter form, no yapping. We got a little bit of yapping in the response there. Now, some people are going to want those really detailed. Here's like a paragraph on each of those. I tend to get a little bit bored reading ChatGPT wax eloquent about, a topic. So I like these shorter responses personally. So here you go. Again, it's going to go a little bit slower because I'm using ChatGPT 4 as opposed to 3.5. But now it's calling us Burgo instead of Virgo. That's good. And it's just giving us the little bit of a abbreviated version of those responses. I'm going to pop over to this. Actually, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, I want to be the most productive. Tell me how to increase productivity based on this feedback. Because I think that's what I heard you say is it's really about prioritizing. Actually, let me change it to priority. I want to prioritize the most important things. Tell me what to prioritize. So actually, I kind of like its response here. If you look at impact first, it says prioritize tasks by the potential impact on Burgo's objectives. That's really an important point. Basically what it's saying is when you're prioritizing your day, you should be prioritizing them, thinking about what is important to Burgo and achieving those results with your job. So I'm just going to focus a little bit more on priority here. Again, it's going to give me a bunch of content here, but thinking about prioritizing critical KPIs, I really like that, thinking about how you're measured, skill application. Again, you just got a little bit more of a detailed response here. So the point is not to totally land the plane on this today, but to give you some things to be thinking about. And that's what AI does a good job at doing, really giving you some things to be thinking about and ways in which you can apply them to your role. Cool. Thanks, Anand. Appreciate that. We are going to move to kind of conclude here. This has been a lot of fun. Hopefully the little bit of interactive session there was helpful for all of you. I certainly enjoyed it. I think that there's a lot that we can all learn from AI and ChatGPT in particular, and instead of having to always kind of work through those things on our own. So I'm going to do just a quick recap of our session here. Thank you so much for those of you that participated. Do a quick recap, and then I'll take any questions here at the end. So first of all, what are the reasons that you should be thinking about leveraging AI? Again, I mentioned this before, but AI can really help you enhance your productivity. So really thinking about, what does it look like to be productive in your role? What does it look like to, kind of make sure that you're excelling in the maximum possible way? You're never going to be replaced as a human, so helps you just to create more humanity in you by automating out the stuff that can be automated. Helps to enable decision making. We didn't jump into the asset management side today, but I think it's fascinating what you can learn on the asset management side. I mean, I'll often just pop into ChatGPT like, hey, what are the market rents in Pittsburgh, or what are the what are the trends for rent over the past couple of years? And it spits that stuff out pretty quickly, and it's pretty good. So that helps to make decisions with, hey, am I going to increase rent? What does it look like in my market? Things like that. And third is it equips workforce development. So really thinking about us developing as people. I think AI can really help us to do that as well. So just a couple action items you can take from here. First thing you might consider is identify some pain points and some opportunities in your particular role. So we just did that with 5 or 6 people on the call, but each and every one of you can be thinking about, hey, what's a problem that I have that I could be digging into, and can AI actually help with this? Then you can research some AI solutions. So the good news is we've done a lot of that for you. I'm going to share these slides with you afterwards, but we also have an entire Google Doc on a ton of AI tools that you can use in your role that we're happy to share with you. Again, AI is not the solution. It's not the end all be all to every single thing, but there may be some things that you can leverage AI for in your particular role. And then last, pilot and implement. So until you've actually typed into like ChatGPT and seen what it can do, or used Otter to record a meeting. I had a meeting last week. I spent about 4 hours with a person, and I just hit record on the meeting. We were meeting in person, so I just did an in-person recording. Afterwards, it gave me a summary and all the action items from that entire meeting. And I was just blown away. I'm like, wow, this just saved me a ton of time. So until you've really seen it work, it's easy to be a little bit skeptical. But just pilot it. Jump into ChatGPT. It's free. You can try it out. And by the way, there are some paid versions of these. Like I didn't jump into the add-on that I use to generate response for prompts for me, but that's a paid add-on. If you ever find yourself really wanting to use a lot of this kind of stuff in your role, and some of them are paid, talk to your manager. There could be opportunities for you to, have that be a part of like a paid subscription that helps increase your productivity. So those are the main things I wanted to communicate, and some ways that you can really be leveraging generative AI in your role. Hopefully this was a fun and impactful session for each of you. Just mostly wanted to answer the question that we get from a lot of you, which is sort of what is our perspective on AI? And I can't share the entire company's perspective, but this is definitely my perspective. So with that, we can answer any questions you might have. Mel, did you have a question?
I was actually going to ask the question about like if we wanted to start engaging with it, like where to start. So it sounds like you answered that for us. I did want to just offer too. We pay for and have AI companion with Zoom for all of our meetings. So while I don't think it's like best in class out there, if you wanted to like tiptoe into it or like step your feet into it, you could try that on one of your like next one-on-one meetings just to kind of see what it does and how it captured the notes. It's also really sweet in the aspect that if you join the meeting like late, you can actually hit like a recap button and it will like actually just share with you what we discussed in the meeting to catch you up really quickly. So just something we already have that we can use at our disposal.
Awesome. Thanks, Mel. So AI Companion built into Zoom. Try that out. Gabby mentioned Fathom. I use Fathom in a ton of my meetings to record them and give me a summary. Otter is another option. Read.ai is another option. So there's a ton of tools out there. The AI Companion that's built into Zoom probably makes sense as a good place to start, as Mel mentioned. ChatGPT is a great place to start. Google has a product that used to be called Bard. It's now called Gemini. That is their AI tool. You could play around with that as well. I just recommend playing around with a few of these tools. And I didn't even get to share the Sparkfire with you today because we're out of time. But we actually have a AI tool that's texting prospective investors and having a full conversation with them, answering questions about our offerings. So that there's really complicated tools that do a specific thing, and there's really simple tools like ChatGPT that are really good places to start.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Since we talked about paying for specific package with AI, I was wondering if there is one that we can pay for and that's made specifically for property management. I can look it up, but I was just so everybody can take advantage of the answer if there is.
Yeah, it's a great question, Hanan. I don't know the answer. I think Mel could probably do some research and lend some insight there. My sense is that AppFolio is building a lot of this stuff in that is specific to property managers. I think they're constantly trying to leverage AI in the current AppFolio suite, and even like the Smart Bill thing that we use in AppFolio, where it helps to separate out bills into separate invoices and things like that. Like that uses AI, and Curtis mentioned Lisa as the AI leasing tool. I think a lot of the systems we already use are starting to leverage AI more, but that's definitely something we can take as an action item to look into as well. So appreciate the question there. All right. Well, we are at time. I want to make sure we let everybody go, but this was a lot of fun for me. I got to play with ChatGPT and Perplexity.ai and things like that with all of you. So hopefully it was helpful. Enjoy the rest of the day and have a great week improving lives through real estate. See y'all.